yourself. Do not partake in or consume substances that are harmful to your body. Try to keep your body pure by staying away from substances such as drugs that can cause bodily deterioration, especially to those organs known as the children of Haru, which ensure a healthy body. 23. I have not terrorized anyone. Do not behave in a manner that causes another to live in fear. Allow each individual to live in confidence and in peace. 24. I have not disobeyed the law. Follow the law of the land that has been set out by the judges and rulers of the country you live in. Also, strive to live in accordance with the laws of Ma'at. 25. I have not been exclusively angry. Inasmuch as you should not be angry without reason, as stated in Law 20, try not to be consumed by anger. This will cause you to continuously maintain an angry state of mind until it is eventually a part of your personality. 26. I have not cursed God or goddess. You should strive to live in alignment with the gods and goddesses and not curse them. You should rather seek their favor. If you feel that a god or goddess is not blessing you in accordance with your expectation, seek the reason why this may be the case rather than cursing them. Cursing them could result in a further delay in receiving some of your blessings and requested protection. 27. I have not behaved with violence. When you act with violence, you are not acting peacefully. You should strive to maintain peace and balance at all times. 28. I have not caused disruption of peace. This is related to the law above. Act peacefully and allow other people to act peacefully. Try to refrain from behaving in a manner that will disturb people's emotions or disrupt the peace in a neighborhood. An example of this could be playing loud music in an elderly neighborhood and thus causing most of the residents to feel irritated. 29. I have not acted hastily or without thought. Think thoroughly about your proposed actions before you make them. In this way, you will ensure that you will not regret your actions in the future. 30. I have not overstepped my boundaries of concern. Try not to be a busybody, concerning yourself with other people's business. Engage yourself only with those matters that concern you. This way, you will avoid falling prey to gossip and talk that is instigated by idle minds. 31. I have not exaggerated my words when speaking. When relaying news or a story about what happened, try not to attempt to gain more attention by exaggerating the details of what took place. This can sometimes be tantamount to lying and may even cause harm to those to whom the story relates. 32. I have not worked evil. Act with goodness and integrity always. Refrain from acting with harmful intentions, as this is evil behavior. 33. I have not used evil thoughts, words, or deeds. This is related to the previous law and is a reminder to live with purity of word, thought, and deed. 34. I have not polluted the water. Water gives life to every living thing. Be kind to yourself, to humanity, and to life throughout the earth by keeping the waterways clean and fresh. 35. I have not spoken angrily or arrogantly. Do not be haughty in your behavior or in your communication. Be kind and humble in your engagements. 36. I have not cursed anyone in thought, word, or deeds. It is best not to wish harm on anybody. Neither should you tell them that you wish them any kind of harm, especially not in a way that conveys your genuinely harmful intentions toward them. Additionally, it is best to refrain from engaging in any activity that you know will bring harm to anybody. 37. I have not placed myself on a pedestal. It is best not to think too highly of yourself. Thinking and behaving in a humble manner is advantageous to you and everyone around you. Refrain from letting your ego drive your actions. 38. I have not stolen what belongs to a god or goddess. You may come across items that have been offered to a god or goddess. No matter how appealing it is to your senses, do not make these items your belongings. Leave them there for the gods or goddesses to whom they have been sacrificed. Taking them to be your own could result in a negative effect on your life. 39. I have not stolen from or disrespected the deceased.
I'm doing, but no, I don't do that.
They were buried with treasures and items that were to be used in their journey to the afterlife. This law was to discourage people from becoming grave robbers. In modern times, you can implement this by respecting the wishes of the deceased when they have left a will with implicit instructions. You can also avoid taking items that have been left at a gravesite or as a clear remembrance of a loved one. Respect the dead. 40. I have not taken food from a child. Children are to be looked after and not abused. Do not take food from a child or any other things that are meant to nourish and sustain that child. 41. I have not acted with insolence. Acting with insolence means that you have acted disrespectfully. Make sure that you treat everyone you encounter with respect. This should not be dependent on whether you believe they deserve respect or not. It is best if you just treat them well. 42. I have not destroyed property belonging to a god or goddess. This is in alignment with the law numbered 38, which is a declaration of not having stolen from a god or goddess. Likewise, it is best if you look after and honor what belongs to the gods and goddesses by not destroying it. Children of Heru. During the mummification process, specific gods, known as the children of Heru, were given the responsibility of looking after identified internal organs during the journey into the afterlife. These are called Hapi, Imseti, Duamutef, and Kebisenuef, who were given the responsibility for the stomach, intestines, lungs, and liver, respectively. The identified organs were mummified and placed in canopic jars. Each jar bore the likeliness of the god who guarded the body organ contained within. This preservation process highlights the importance of the body and these particular organs in this life and the next. Therefore, it is good to recognize the importance of your body as the vessel that carries your spirit through the journey of life on earth. Part of doing this involves including blessings for the organs that were specifically charged to the children of Heru after death. Examining each of these body parts provides insight as to why they are important for your daily life. Hapi, the god with a baboon head, takes care of the lungs. They enable the breathing of life-giving oxygen into your body. This oxygen is needed by each cell of your body to survive. Once you are unable to breathe, you die. The human-headed Imseti looks after your liver. The liver secretes some of the most important hormones and enzymes to enable the digestion of food. In addition to this, the liver breaks down some of the less nutritious substances we consume. This includes drugs and alcohol, which the liver breaks down so that they are not toxic to the body. The liver breaks down fats and stores glucose, making it important for our body to thrive, both in times of drought and plenty. The jackal-headed Duamutef protects the stomach. The stomach is the first receptacle for our food once we have chewed and swallowed it. It kills harmful substances and engages in the digestive process. Kebisenuef is depicted on the canopic jar with a falcon head. He looks after the intestines. The intestines enable you to absorb food into your body and consist of the small intestine and the large intestine. Each of these sections has different functions in the digestive process. The vagus nerve, which contains the brain-gut
Oh,
connection,
man.
runs from the intestines to the brain.
Man.
Thus,
I'm
any
dead. What? I
disturbance
didn't
in
need
the
to tap out for
intestines
minutes.
has a direct impact on mental
I
clarity
didn't need to tap out for
and the
minutes.
way individuals can engage with and enjoy the world around them. To aid your spiritual journey, it is
I'm on
advisable
board,
to strengthen your body and mind in addition to your spirit.
Well,
To strengthen your body,
Pokemon.
it is advantageous to follow a Kemetic diet. Following this diet ensures that whatever you consume fills you with positive energy emanating directly from the sun, the source of energy for the earth. Building a healthy body. A diet containing foods that are non-organic, which are not in alignment with kinetic principles, has resulted in the unhealthy populations of modern society. This is largely due to the rise of diseases caused by consuming foods that are detrimental to our health. Some of these popular foods, such as dairy, processed foods, and seafood, result in inflammation, congestion, and the depletion of energy. The latter is due to the huge efforts required to digest these foods. These foods often give rise to allergies. Thus, instead of providing easily accessible nourishment to our bodies, these foods eventually lead to chronic illness, as our bodies struggle to cope with the detrimental effects of a diet that does nothing to uplift our vibrational frequency. Instead, the wrong diet leaves us feeling bloated and lacking energy. This lack of physical energy can impact our ability to focus and pursue our spiritual path. Physical strength and balance. Ensuring healthy bodily functions in alignment with the divine is further enhanced by the incorporation of Kemetic yoga into our daily lifestyle. Why not start your day with the breathing techniques and stretching that Kemetic yoga provides? This enables you to maintain a strong body core and incorporate the breath of life as a force that will still your mind and enable you to focus fully on your daily activities. See the bonus, Kemetic Yoga for Energizing Modern Day Practice chapter at the end of this book. A meditative practice that includes an alignment with your spiritual guides also helps to build your physical body. It is through interaction with your spirit guides that you can achieve balance and healing in areas of the body that traditional Western medicine either does not recognize or treats with chemicals that may not be beneficial to overall health. A spiritual approach to well-being will have a long-term positive effect on both the body and the psyche. A healthy mind. Focusing on spiritual studies will keep your mind and spirit in a realm that enables you to create positive events in your life. These spiritual studies can be taken from many of the positive religions of the world. These religions, such as Christianity, Judaism, Islam, and Buddhism, are all said to have originated in ancient Kemet. Many of the themes taught and the stories told in these religions have maintained their Kemetic origins, although names may have been changed and storylines adjusted. However, the principles that are imparted to their followers remain the same, with central themes such as the Ten Commandments being said to have been derived from the laws of Ma'at. To maintain a healthy mind, you must also focus your mind on positive thoughts. Be mindful of thoughts that are imbued with anger, sadness, worry, and jealousy. These thoughts can result in the appearance of physical ailments over time as your body's organs
I'm not going to do that.
react to the chemicals and enzymes that are secreted into the body when such thoughts are entertained. Kemetic spirituality was aware of this connection and encouraged pure thinking thousands of years ago.
I don't do that.
It is only recently that scientific studies have recognized this correlation.
But
If you do not take care to monitor and stabilize your negative thoughts, this could have an epigenetic effect in the long run. Mate, 2022. An epigenetic effect is one which affects you at a genetic level and thus can be passed on to your offspring. Thus, the liver disease that you brought about by too much worry could become hereditary, as both your children and grandchildren could develop it. Therefore, some types of diseases that are seen to be genetic can be avoided simply by maintaining a pureness of mind. Once you recognize that a healthy state of mind can have an effect on your overall well-being, you can work toward ensuring that your environment and your lifestyle allow this healthy mind to flourish. To ensure that you maintain a positive outlook for most of your life, it would be beneficial to choose a profession that is in alignment with your personality. Wata Ashby 2022. In this way, when you focus on your work, it becomes a meditative practice. If, during your workday, you are mostly in a state of ease, you will be less prone to disease. The positive emotions that stem from enjoying your work will result in a continuous positive outlook. This will have a beneficial impact on your health in both the short and long term. The 7 Hermetic Principles.
Joe, I don't
In
do
addition
that.
to the laws of
Come on.
the 7 Hermetic Principles are a further means of achieving balance.
But
These
come
Hermetic
on.
principles have
I was
persisted
doing
in
the
their
job.
application around the world. Their adoption into Greek
Almost
culture
do.
has greatly
No, I'm
influenced
putting
their
it what I'm
ability to
not almost
assist
at
in
you
modern-day
100
spiritual
pounds.
understanding. The
I'm
Hermetic
on what
principles
put
were
a
given to us
pound.
by Hermes Trismegistus. Alongside theurgy and astrology, they will enable you to access the wisdom of the universe. I will mention these principles briefly here and elaborate on them further in the chapter on Kemetic science. 1. The principle of mentalism. 2. The principle of correspondence. 3. The principle of vibration.
Oh, a couple more.
4.
God, almost
The principle
do.
of polarity.
I'm putting
5.
it what I'm not
The
almost
principle
do
of
what
rhythm.
but and all.
6. The principle of
But
causality.
come on.
7. The principle of gender. Together, these principles should guide you on your journey as a spiritual initiate as you go about making your daily
But
decisions.
I'm almost at pop out and balance it
Becoming
works.
divine. Kemeticism is theurgy, more than theology. What this means is that it goes beyond studying the gods and goddesses. It is a way of life where you strive to be like the gods and goddesses by embracing their positive aspects. You need to understand the challenges that the gods and goddesses face during the course of their lives and then work toward overcoming those challenges in your own life. You can learn from the routes that were taken by the gods and goddesses and allow these to inspire you. Beyond mimicry, theurgy also involves actively calling upon the deities to be present in your life and guide your daily affairs. Doing this involves prayer, ritual, and other spiritual practices, such as yoga. This enables you to use the presence and energy of the deity to assist you in getting through challenges in
What
much the
now?
same way that wearing a
Just
raincoat
put
allows
in
you to
a
walk through the
monarch.
rain without getting
Or
wet.
just put in a
The raincoat
monarch.
does not render you waterproof.
I'm on
However,
board.
it does stop you from being directly impacted by the water. When wearing a raincoat, you arrive dry at your destination. When practicing theurgy, you overcome the challenges of daily living without the deep emotional and spiritual impact that some events can bring. Practicing theurgy can also help you overcome the impact of previous negative events. This provides you with the best platform to achieve your life goals. In addition to learning about their lives, you can work more closely with universal laws and energy. You can do this by deliberately partaking in rituals, such as paying homage to your ancestors and spirit guides. It will aid you in paying attention to the Hermetic laws and living in a way that brings you in alignment with them. The ability to do this and thus manipulate events in their favor is what magic consisted of in ancient Kemet. In fact, in Kemet, there was a god of magic, and his name was Heka. He was usually depicted wearing a headdress with 2 hands held up. He was so embedded and present in all aspects of life that he almost seemed invisible due to his omnipresence. Therefore, you, too, are recommended to be aware of the omnipresence of magical forces and the ability to experience extraordinary outcomes as a result. Health is a state of mind, body, and soul. These 3 aspects of the self must be healthy and in balance if you want to ensure your continued health. According to Kemeticism expert Muata Ashby, illness and disease must be addressed at the soul level through the discipline of meditation, the mental level through studying and understanding the purpose of life, and at the physical level with the proper diet and exercise. Living a Kemetic lifestyle that includes Kemetic yoga, meditating on the laws of Ma'at, a Kemetic diet, and a spiritual study thus benefits your overall health and wellness. When you live in a healthy body and with a healthy mind and soul, you are living in harmony with yourself and in accordance with the laws of Ma'at. Therefore, a Kemetic lifestyle that seeks to improve your spiritual life is beneficial for all aspects of your existence. Chapter 2: The Tree of Life and How to Use It to Achieve Higher Consciousness. The Tree of Life has been popularized by various religions. Evidence of its existence can be found in beliefs, religious texts, and geographical locations ranging from the Kabbalah, Buddhism, Celtic religion, Christianity, Turkish religion, the Assyrians, the Mayans, the Native Americans, Hinduism, Islam, and China. What these all have in common is their view of the Tree of Life as a connector between heaven and earth. Some cultures also see the Tree of Life as a force that binds families, cultures, and societies together. Depictions of the Tree of Life and these cultures show a tree with its roots and its branches stretching low and high to eventually become a part of the circle within which it is enclosed. These visualizations embody how the Tree of Life is a tool to grow from our earthly roots to a level where we embrace the divine in the heavens. By using the Tree of Life in our spiritual journey, we can reach higher levels of spiritual awareness while creating a positive impact on those around us as we go about the motions of our daily lives. Using the Tree of Life as a tool for spiritual enlightenment allows us to embrace both heaven and earth. The Kemetic Tree of Life also reaches from the earth toward the heavens. However, instead of a tree, it uses the form of an obelisk as its visual representation. The long column represents the various stages and multiple points of connection for the various gods and goddesses
I'm just gonna put
depicted
it
in the
in
creation
YouTube.
story. The triangular-shaped Ben stone at the top of the structure represents the connection point to God the Creator in the form of the rising sun, also known as Amun-Ra or Amun-Ra. It is upon the Ben stone that Ra alighted when he emerged from the waters of noon. From this vantage point, he used the energy of vibration to create the world. As we go down from the Ben stone and travel along the column of the obelisk, we encounter different planes of existence, each associated with different principles. Each of these principles, or gods, in these planes of existence represents a point along the human journey in their upward growth toward enlightenment. From the opposite direction, these points represent the creation journey downward from the ethereal toward increasing density. Aside from the obelisk with the pyramid-shaped Ben stone on top, the pyramid structure can also be seen as the Tree of Life. For this to happen, we must include the principles that form the base structure that enables creation to exist. These are the principles known as Nebtebet and Iuaset. They come together to form time and space, creating a platform on which creation can exist. Together with Ra, they form a triangular structure that anchors the obelisk that represents the creation story. When you use the obelisk or the pyramid as a structure to help you identify with the principles of creation and manifest them in your life, you must understand the order in which the principles appeared during the creation process. You will also need to embody the traits of these principles to face the challenges that each principle encountered during their coming into being. The challenges the principles faced throughout their lives and the ways in which they continuously met and overcame these is also a guideline to help you achieve greatness in your life by emulating the behaviors which help them overcome challenges. During the creation process, each principle emanated from the divine in a downward creation process. In your spiritual journey, you will engage each principle in the opposite order to the one they were created in. Each step that you take in ascending this ladder will bring you closer to your divinity. The more that you embody the positive aspects of the associated god or goddess, the greater your spiritual growth will be. The ultimate intention is for you to reach alignment with the Creator God Ra. To aid you in your journey, let us take a deeper look at the process of creation and the principles in their order of appearance through the four planes of existence. Planes of existence. The Kemetic Tree of Life dates as far back as 4000 BCE and is represented by an obelisk or a pyramid to depict the path to spiritual enlightenment. The obelisk is divided into four planes of existence through which ascension must occur to reach a godly state. Each plane of existence represents a different human faculty that needs to be engaged and overcome in the journey to enlightenment. Enlightenment is attained by overcoming the challenges encountered when facing the principles residing within each of the four planes of existence. Each principle is represented by a deity that represents the supreme force that it is in charge of. By conquering each force within yourself, as a spiritual seeker or initiate, you can move from mastery of the densest elements through to the more ethereal ones. Once you have mastered all 11 of these forces, you will reach a level of transcendence. The forces are often felt as an inner drive or a desire. This will guide you toward understanding where you are on your journey, what you need to focus on, and how to master current challenges at any given moment. The principles are presented below in the order of creation, which is from the top down. Remember, though, that your spiritual journey will be an ascent from the bottom to the top. With each challenge that you overcome, you will face another that is higher on the tree of life. If you continue your spiritual journey, you will ascend until you attain the divinity of Ra. Nun. The creation story that starts in the first plane of existence, which is Nun, the undifferentiated consciousness. It is from out of these chaotic waters of Nun that Ra rises to sit on the Benben stone. Nun is the absolute realm of the transcendental worlds. Ra, or Re, represented by a hawk-headed man with a sun disk on his head. Ra is the creator god. He created the god Shu and the goddess Tefnut after his emergence from the water of Nun. Shu and Tefnut are air and moisture. Ra represents the growth of living things through the power of the sun, which Ra embodies. Ra expresses himself in different forms, such as the rising sun, Amun-Ra, and the setting sun, Tem-Ra. In both of these states, Ra is getting ready to expend a great amount of energy for half of the day. As Amun-Ra, he is preparing to light up the earth, bringing warmth and the capacity for growth and the creation of food via the effects of photosynthesis. As Tem-Ra, however, he is about to get swallowed by the goddess of the sky, Nut. When Nut swallows Ra, she is the form of the night sky. Here, he will enter the underworld and spend the entire night traversing 12 gates and fighting the snake god Apep. He eventually emerges victorious in the form of the morning sun the following day. While the obelisk represents the tree of life, Ra sits on top of the Benben stone, which is found at the summit of the obelisk. This indicates his role as governor over all other deities found on the tree of life and on the creation journey. If you were to extend that Benben stone to the ground, you would find that it creates the shape of a pyramid at the ground level. That pyramid is anchored on either side by Nefertebet and Iwaset. They are the god and goddess who were there at the beginning of creation when Ra created the world. However, due to their role as anchors to the greater pyramid, they do not sit in the Nun plane. They are located in the lowermost plane of existence, the Ta. Duat. When Ra emerged from the waters of Nun, he emerged into the realm of the dead, the Duat. This is also referred to as the astral realm. Here he emerged in the form that he takes when he enters this realm, which is a Tum-Ra or Tem-Ra. When he was in this space, He went about bringing order to the world by creating the goddess Ma'at. It was here, in the realm of the dead, that he also created Ma'at's companion, Jehuti. In this realm, they are accompanied by Het-Haru, also known as Hathor, the goddess of the sky. Duat, the casual plane, is the center of mental faculties such as consciousness and individuality. The principles of balance and order, as well as intellect, are found on this plane. Ma'at is balance and order, while Jehuti is the intellect. They are held together by the subtle force of order that is represented by Het-Haru. Ma'at. Ma'at represents order. She is the goddess of truth, balance, and order. If you operate within the laws of Ma'at during the course of your lifetime, you will ensure that your life is in harmony with the universal laws. These universal laws of Ma'at were put in place as the base structure needed by all existence. Ra brought Ma'at into being before the rest of creation was put in place. The Hermetic laws follow the principles of Ma'at, and being in alignment with them puts you in alignment with all of creation. This is why adopting these laws results in the ability to manifest your intentions faster than if you were in a state of disorder and chaos. Jehuti, or Thoth. Jehuti, also known as Thoth, represents intellect. He is the god of wisdom, magic, the written word, and the moon. Thoth was the god of equilibrium and therefore worked closely with Ma'at. He was often represented as a man with the head of an ibis or as a sitting baboon. His proximity to Ra is seen in the solar disk that he often wears on his head. He is a scribe and an advisor to the gods. He also rules over matters of justice on earth. He drives away Apophis, or Apep, the snake of chaos that seeks to devour Ra every night. Thoth knows the past and the future, inclusive of the fate of each person from the moment of their birth. He numbers the days and years of humanity. After people die, he helps them pass through the hall of justice by providing them with magic spells to use against demons of the underworld. Thoth is also known as Hermes Trismegistus. In that representation, he brought us the Hermetic principles. These principles guide us on the ways that the laws of the universe operate. They show us how to behave if we want to engage with these laws for the purpose of bringing about change in our lives. He also brought us the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, which recount the last days of Atlantis and how his love of knowledge resulted in his transmutation from a man in Atlantis to a god in Egypt. Het-Haru, or Hathor. Hathor is the warrior goddess with the solar disk and bull's horns. As a result, she is a part of the consort known as the Eye of Ra. This is the team that Ra sent to Earth to restore order. One story about Hathor is that at one time, Sekhmet was sent to Earth to punish humanity for wrongdoing. When Sekhmet arrived, she started killing people indiscriminately because they had all sinned. Ra tricked Sekhmet into drinking beer that looked like the blood of humanity. The alcohol caused her to fall asleep, and when she woke up, she was no longer Sekhmet, but had taken on the form of the fun-loving Hathor. Hathor is a fun-loving goddess whose gift to the world is gratitude. Observing religious rituals, praying, and partaking in festivals is her recipe for a good life. This attitude of gratitude that she teaches enables you to maintain the laws of Ma'at if you can cultivate it. The effects of gratitude continue into the afterlife as it keeps your heart as light as a feather and therefore able to pass through the halls of judgment. Pet. Once the structures governing the universe had been put in place, Ra created Shu and Tefnut, air and moisture, either by spitting or sneezing them into existence. These were his children, whom he placed in the heavenly plane. They in turn created Geb and Nut, the earth and the sky. Above the physical plane is Pa'et, the astral plane. It is on this level that dreams, ideas, thoughts, emotions, and imagination reside. The principles that you need to overcome to conquer this plane consist of air or ether, earth, water, and the heavens. You will therefore need to engage Shu, Geb, Tefnut, and Nut to enable you to do this. Shu. Shu represents air, space, and ether. Shu is the god of light and a force for preservation. Preservation takes place in his presence. To understand this concept, consider how food that has been dehydrated can be preserved for consumption over a longer period of time. His images depict him wearing ostrich feathers on his head. With one hand, he carries an ankh, which represents the breath of life. With the other hand, he carries a scepter, which represents power. He is often seen holding up the sky, Nahut, with both hands, while his feet rest next to Geb, the earth, who lies in repose on the ground. In some instances, Shu is depicted as a lion. Shu and Tefnut were also worshipped as a pair of lions. Tefnut or Tefenut. Tefnut represents water and life force. She is the goddess of water who brings about change through the introduction of moisture. In bringing about change, she creates the concept of time, which is used to differentiate the states before and after the change occurred. She is seen with a urea serpent and a solar disk on her head. She has also been depicted with the crown of sprouting plants on her head. Like Shu, she carries an ankh and a scepter, representing life and power. Nut. Nut represents heaven. She is the goddess of the sky. Nut and Geb were twins who were born holding each other close. When Ra ordered Shu to separate them, he held Nut above his head and left Geb lying at his feet. Nut's body keeps chaos at bay. Otherwise, it would break through the skies and overcome the earth. This is the same chaos that threatens to consume Ra daily in the form of the snake Apep as he traverses the Duat. Because Ra had decreed that Nut could not give birth on any day of the year, a creative solution needed to be found for the pregnant Nut to give birth. Thoth devised a way to allow the heavily pregnant Nut to give birth while not defying Ra. He created 5 extra days using slivers of moonlight. Nut was able to give birth in succession during these extra days. The Kemetic calendar has 360 days and 5 extra days to cater for the full revolution around the sun. One can't help but wonder if those 5 extra days are the ones that Jehuti created to provide Nut extra days for giving birth. After all, the extra days do not fall easily into the well-divided Kemetic calendar. Nut swallows Ra in the west at sunset and gives birth to him in the east at dawn. While traversing her inner body, Ra battles the demons of the underworld, including the snake Apep, whom Thoth helps to chase away. Nut provides fresh air to those souls that are in the underworld. Nut is usually depicted as arched over the earth, with her feet touching the ground on the left and her hands touching down to the right of the picture. She is also shown as a ladder between the earth and the heavens, which souls can climb up to get to the afterlife. Her body is often painted blue and covered with stars that represent the night sky. Geb. Geb represents earth, and he is the god of the earth. He is the twin brother of Nut, the sky goddess. His images depict him as a goose, or a man with a goose's head. Other images show him as a man wearing the Atef crown, a combination of the cone-shaped white Hejed crown, featuring curled ostrich feathers on either side. Ta. Geb and Nut had children who lived on the earthly plane following their difficult birth. They had to live on earth, as Ra decreed that they were considered unfit to live on the heavenly plane due to the circumstances around their birth. These children of Nut became the protagonists in the stories that describe the main battles that humanity faces while living in the earthly realm. These are battles related to deception, envy, and the overcoming of evil through perseverance. Ta is the physical plane of existence on which we experience life. This is the densest plane of existence. On this plane, you will find the forces known as Asar, Aset, Set, Nephet, Haru, Nebtebet, and Euaset. Aser, Auser, or Osiris. Aser represents the eternal soul. He's the god of fertility, life, death, and the underworld. His sovereignty over fertility includes the annual flooding of the river Nile and agricultural success. The latter is an association that cements his identity as being that of a green man. He was also depicted as a black man in a coffin. This is due to the fact that he was killed by his brother Set more than once, and each time his wife Aset worked hard to restore his life. The first time his brother killed him, he had been tricked into getting into a coffin. His brother then closed the lid and threw the coffin into the Nile River. However, rather than dying, Aser was eventually trapped into a pillar made of jedwood. Aset's rescuing him from the wooden pillar resulted in a second murder attempt by his brother. His pictures show him wearing the Atif crown with its recognizable ostrich feather side detail, while his hands are holding a crook and flail. Aser is the husband brother of Aset and the father of Anpu or Anubis. Anubis is the son of Nephthys and was conceived when she was in disguise. This is how the story is told to cover up the fact that Aser had a child out of wedlock. Therefore, Nephthys, the goddess of the air, would have been in disguise as Aset, her sister and the wife of Aser. Aser is also the father of the twins Haru, younger Horus, and Bastet. Being the king of the underworld, all pharaohs aspired to become like Aser upon their death. Aset, Osset, or Isis. Aset represents wisdom and intuition. She holds the title of the mother of all gods, as every pharaoh was her child, Haru. Yet upon death, these same pharaohs all aspired to become her husband, Aser. With her power to reconstruct, she was able to bring her husband Aser back to life the first time that his brother Set killed him. After she did this, Set cut him into 14 pieces to ensure that he was truly dead. However, Aset gathered all his pieces together so that she could afford him a decent funeral. She even created a replacement body part after she could not find his penis, as it had been swallowed by a crocodile. It would be correct to say that it was due to her tireless actions that Aser was able to take his place as ruler of the underworld after his burial. With her power to reconstruct the dead, Aset was considered to be highly skilled in the magical arts. In this way, she earned the reputation of being able to heal all illnesses. You can call upon Aset to come to your aid in the most challenging circumstances, as the ancient Egyptians did. She overcame many difficult situations, and she helps those in need. Her ability to overcome was gained from Ra, after she tricked him into revealing his real name to her. In so doing, she was able to bribe him into giving her his powers. It had been said that images of Aset suckling Horus inspired early paintings of Mary and Jesus. Horus was conceived by Aset after she had created a phallus for him to ensure his body was complete at burial. Other images of her show her with a sun disk on her head that is carried by a throne or vulture headdress. She has also been depicted with a shuti crown that carries the uraeus and the sun disk between two cow horns. However, the wearing of the shuti may have to do with her conversion by the populace into the form of Hathor during the latter years of the Egyptian dynasties. Some of her images also show her wearing a three-stepped crown. She is associated with the moon, the Nile River, and the stars. Set, Seth, or Setet. He was the god of chaos, confusion, destruction, storms, foreign lands, eclipses, earthquakes, and violence. Set was the brother of Aser, to whom he brought a great deal of violent chaos during the course of his life. Set killed Aser during a power struggle for leadership over Egypt. As ruler over foreign lands, he was also a protector of hunters, soldiers, and trade caravans. He sowed confusion among enemy troops, resulting in success for Egypt's army. In later years, he was seen as a friend of Ra. He is depicted as a long-snouted dog with long ears and a forked tail. Nephthys or Nephthys. Goddess of the air, Nephthys was married to Set and was the mother of Anubis. Anubis was the child of Aser, whom Nephthys conceived after disguising herself as her sister Aset and seducing Aser. Alongside Aset, she helped to resurrect Aser after Set had killed him. This earned her the title of Protector of the Dead. She uniquely keeps watch over the organs in the canopic jars that are placed in the tomb alongside the dead when they are buried. She is sometimes depicted with a basket on her head. She has also been depicted as a woman in mourning and as a hawk.
Done.
Haru-Ur,
What
Horus
up,
the
done?
Elder.
How we doing?
Haru-Ur fought with
How we
Set
doing, done?
after
How
Set
Bob on a
killed
good
Aser
job?
for the throne. During the struggle, Haru-Ur lost his left
How
eye.
Bob a good
The eye
job,
was
done?
restored by
Bak
Jehuti.
bakamana. Abano.
Consequently, the moon goes through different phases, symbolizing the times when Haru-Ur's eye was complete up to the time he had no eye. As the lunar cycle resumes, his eye is restored to fullness. Therefore, the eye of Haru-Ur symbolizes restoration, health, and protection. The fully restored eye of Haru-Ur is symbolized by the Wedjet, also known as the Eye of Horus. Amulets of the Eye of Horus are thought to be powerful. In later years, though, a set came to symbolize Hathor. During
Do
that,
but do that.
Haru-Ur is depicted as a child or a husband of Hathor. The Greeks adopted Haru-Ur as Horus, and in later years gave him the name Apollo. Therefore, any mention of Apollo from Greek texts can be seen as pertaining to Haru-Ur as a god. Haru-Ur was represented by a falcon or by a winged sun disk. The winged Haru-Ur hovering over the head in the image indicated a king. In the form of a falcon, his right eye was the morning star of power. His left eye was the moon or the evening star, which had the strength to heal. Nephthotep, Nephthotebet, or Nemetawi. Nephthotebet represents rest. Alongside motion, which is represented by Iuaset, they create time and space. Thus, these two come together with Ra to form a triangle that is the foundation of time and space. This foundation enables Ra to create the world. As Nemetawi, she was the wife of Thoth and, at times, the wife of the snake god, Nehibu-Kau. Nemetawi was the protector of the law and represented wisdom and justice. The name Nemetawi means the one who embraces those in need. She is depicted as a woman in a long dress, sometimes carrying a child. On her head, she carries a crown made of sistrum flanked by two uraei. Uraei is the plural for uraeus. A uraeus is the Egyptian cobra. It was often placed as a symbol on the crowns of Egyptian royalty. A sistrum is a musical instrument shaped like an upside-down U with a handle on one end and bars placed horizontally across the U. The sound it makes is similar to shaking a tambourine. Each uraeus on Nemetawi's crown featured a sun disk on its head. This sistrum instrument that is her crown is similar to the one that Hathor is often seen carrying in her hand. Therefore, it has been assumed that there are more connections to be found between Nemetawi and Hathor. Iuaset, Iusas, or Seosis. Iuaset represents
Bak
motion.
bakamana.
She is the goddess of the
How
tree
we
of life.
doing?
The tree of
Bak
life
bakamana.
is the acacia tree because not only is it durable, but it is also edible and has medicinal properties. All deities, aside from Atum-Ra, were born under the acacia tree, and Iuaset is the grandmother to all of them. Being the goddess of the medicinal acacia tree, she has the ability to remove every impurity from the body and to heal all diseases. Her ability to do so is stated in the Book of Coming Forth by Day, also known as the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Alongside Atum-Ra, she created the world, as she is the goddess of creation. She is the utterer of the words that created the world. She is also known as one of the 10,000 faces of Isis. In her images, she is depicted wearing a solar disk between two horns that sits on top of a vulture crown. In her hands, she carries an ankh and a scepter. These are the gods and goddesses of creation. They are presented in the same order that they manifested. However, when you engage with them, you must do it from the bottom up as a tool to help you improve your life. By meditating on the challenges they faced, you can learn from them to help you engage your own struggles. You are also able to call upon them for guidance in the areas that they have overcome. In this way, they can become your guides through your life journey. Chapter 3. Hermetic Science Made Easy for Effortless Vitality and Abundance. As mentioned previously, Hermetic science was introduced to ancient Kemet and then ancient Greece by Hermes Trismegistus. The principles that he introduced are based on science. However, until recent scientific discoveries were made, these principles seem to be steeped in belief, with no scientific basis for their existence. Advances in modern science have brought scientific understanding to the level that spirituality and religion have always existed. This is the level whereby faith-based actions result in tangible outcomes. With this knowledge comes the understanding that the answering of prayers needs no longer be attributed to coincidence. Instead, prayer is a confirmation of the successful implementation of scientifically based actions. These actions need to be taken in alignment with Hermetic science and the 7 spiritual principles. Aside from being handed down in families and secret societies, the Hermetic laws have been mostly lost to society over the millennia. In the past century, there have been occasions where these laws have surfaced in various forms to provide direction to those who were in a position to receive this knowledge. This book is one such adventure in that it brings attention to the Hermetic laws in a direct manner. Other books that have done this include The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, and Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, to name a few. These books have tried to draw our attention to the fact that what we focus our attention on leads to growth in that area. This is true, whether it is a positive or negative thought that we are focusing on. Our focus, combined with our emotions, serves a spiritual fertilizer for that thing to grow. The reason why this occurs is because of the Hermetic principles that the universe is aligned to. Our emotions serve as a source of energy that fuels our focus and thus activates the power of creation that exists within us. When we know and understand these universal laws, we are able to make changes in our lives that would have been difficult to bring about from a position of ignorance. The principle of mentalism. This principle states that the universe is mental. It refers to the fact that there is a supreme consciousness that is in control of the entire universe. It is this supreme consciousness that controls the movement of the planets, the tides of the sea, and the rhythms of your body. Atkinson, 1908. A belief in a higher spiritual power that created the universe is the foundation of most world religions. These religions attribute this higher spiritual power to the ability to control the world and ensure that all operations run smoothly, both on heaven and earth. Abrahamic religions have traditionally conceived of this figure as having human-like qualities. The Eurocentric version of this has seen the depiction of God as an old bearded man floating on a cloud in the sky. Recent scientific events have helped us to shift our focus from a single physical entity that controls the world toward an understanding of the interconnectedness between living beings. Our previous personalization of the universal consciousness has proved to be a helpful method for directing the focus of our intentions by using the method of prayer. Its usefulness has risen from the idea that most people are unable to focus on the consciousness within them or from the universe. They are more easily able to direct prayers toward Allah, God, or Jesus, and achieve similar outcomes. The ancient Egyptians also used personalization of universal consciousness to assist them in directing their prayers toward their outcomes. They went further than a single God to focus on the various aspects that God embodies. By personalizing each aspect, they found a way to separate their needs into individual gods and goddesses that reflected what they would like to experience or see achieved in their lives. In this way, they were able to direct their prayer to that specific god or goddess who embodied the particular principles that they sought. This enabled them to hone in on the specific areas in which they needed improvement. You can also use this approach to help with your prayer life and manifestation process. When you recognize the gods and goddesses that are in charge of the area of your life that you would like to bring growth to, you can focus on those principles that those deities embody. When you combine this with knowledge of the Hermetic principles, your capacity to achieve your desired outcome is enhanced due to your ability to make a more precise request. This is equivalent to having a focused prayer. Instead of praying to God for general goodwill in your life, you can pray to the God who helps you overcome the ego. In this way, you can use the principle of mentality to guide your ability to focus. In doing so, you will engage with universal consciousness and thus bring about the changes you seek. Science has continued to provide us with evidence for the interconnectedness between all reality. The rediscovery of the atom and its component parts have revealed these to be the minute particles that make up all components of reality. This knowledge has changed the way we look at all physical matter. The fact that the atom can be split to create a powerful explosion that creates an awareness of the immense power that resides within the cells of every person. Quantum physics has broken down these atoms farther into electrons, quarks, and neutrons, whose states can be affected through mere observation. To have an effect on the state of the object, the observer needs to have an intention or an expectation for the object. What quantum theory tells us is that before an object exists in the real world, it lives in a state of potential. It may express its potential as either a wave or a particle, and once that potential has been expressed, it cannot revert. The moment of existence is preceded by an intention coinciding with an observation. The observer's intention, therefore, determines whether a particle will remain a particle or become a wave. From this, we learn that what you have in your mind in the form of intentions can impact the outcome of an observed event. This is the beginning of seeing the principle of mentalism in action. These minute particles can also influence one another when they are not in close proximity to each other. As this concept has been further explored by the non-scientific community, it has moved the application of the resultant knowledge from the scientific realm to the spiritual. As a result, we have seen practitioners such as Dr. Joe Dispenza use quantum theory as a tool to guide the manipulation of the individual's existence by working with the information held. Dispenza in 2021. By recognizing the power of observation and intention, Dispenza encourages us to maintain positive thoughts and emotions if we want to have positive outcomes in our lives. His belief that you can influence your environment by harnessing the power of the mind is one that has been increasingly echoed by various spiritual and thought leaders. At the base of these new teachings is the belief in the existence of a universal consciousness. Such consciousness is believed to connect all living matter, including each human being. Therefore, each person needs to understand that they can tap into the power of this universal consciousness by embracing a positive mindset and thus raising their vibration to resemble a frequency
I'm gonna
closer to a
go
wave,
up one.
the information field.
Ababagan na monak. Abagadabawan. Ababagan na monak.